Hello, welcome back to the Trust Your Worth podcast, the podcast that helps you tap in to the power of knowing your worth. My name is Brittany, and thank you so much for joining me today. Last week, I had a very special guest, Abby Peterson, the author of The Legend of the Lightborn. Her book is out now, and I hope that you go and get it and read it. So if you missed that episode, and if you have ever thought, oh, could I write a book? You can. Abby did. And she trusted herself enough to do it. So if she can do it, you can too. It was a really great episode. Check it out. I haven't had the chance to read her book yet because I was out of town and whatnot, but I am so excited to. I do have it in my possession, so I will read it before the next episode. So yeah, if you haven't checked that one out, that's episode 35, season 2, Trusting Your Worth Enough to Write a Book with Abby Peterson. So thank you, Abby, for coming on. And yeah, go check out her book and check out that episode. Let me tell you, it has been a week. I got to go to New York City last week and had an amazing time, but we were just going, which I love, but my body has not recovered, and it's been almost a week since I've been home. Had to go straight into work and whatnot, so I'm very grateful that I had that opportunity to explore such a fun city with my wonderful, wonderful friend, and see so many good shows. My favorite thing about New York is always the shows. But anyways, I was thinking about rest and the different types of rest we can have, and just also about thoughts and how thoughts can just take over everything sometimes, especially this week as I've been exhausted. I've sort of bought into a lot of thoughts that weren't necessarily true or helpful. So I wanted to talk about that this week. Today we are talking about navigating through your thoughts. So let's get into it. I just heard a quote, and this could be wrong. The number could be wrong, but it is definitely in the millions, that we can have millions of thoughts in a day, even a million a second. Our brain is so good at navigating through those. If we think of thoughts as literally an ocean, that's what you're swimming through to just sort of be able to focus on one thought. It's so many. And that's what's so interesting about our thoughts, is that a lot of them are lying to us. And it's because we see the world through certain lenses. So, for example, I've used this before, but we could be looking at the same apple, and I'm telling you, no, that apple is purple. And no, the other person is saying, no, that apple is red. And that just means that my lenses just happen to be blue and theirs are clear. And hopefully we are trying to look through clear lenses ultimately, but to be able to focus on the thoughts that are going to be helpful and not let them control us is really important in helping us to remember our worth, and also to be kinder to ourselves. Because imagine we listen to all the thoughts that were untrue about us, or just let those win the day. So I'm going to link this video from Therapy in a Nutshell. I forget her name. She's the therapist, but she has this wonderful video on exactly this. And I was so inspired by it because I have felt so many of the things that the people go through, especially a guy she talks about named Miguel. Miguel looks through the world through this lens of, I don't want to hurt anyone's feeling. It's like this unwritten golden rule he has, that he latches onto those thoughts. So he goes to a party and then he gets anxious because he starts ruminating and thinking upon the thoughts that are like, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't offend them. Oh my gosh, I don't want to say the wrong thing, because he's just so afraid to live because he's afraid to hurt anyone. He has this rule that he has to live by. And that's an unrealistic standard. And also, you are not responsible for other people's emotions. And he has taken that on himself because he's latched on to these thoughts that aren't helpful, such as, I'm afraid to do this because I don't want to hurt someone else. Or if one friend asks me to go hang out one night and I say yes, but then another friend also asks me to hang out the same night. I don't want to disappoint both of them. So how do I tell one of them that I can't without hurting their feelings? Like that's so much to take on. Like, no, you're not responsible for the other person's feelings. Like if you had already committed, then you should go to your first commitment because you said you would, and just reschedule with that friend. There's nothing wrong with that. And the other friend, I'm sure, if they're a good friend, they'll be like, oh yeah, no problem. You already had plans. No problem. Let's just do it another time. So he can do that without hurting their feelings. Like people are understanding. And I feel like Miguel was forgetting that because he was just so caught up on this rule that he had and this thought process. So one of the tools that the therapist gives is to put this phrase before the thought. And it's this beautiful phrase, which is, I'm having the thought that I might hurt their feelings. So you're naming it as a thought because you don't have to listen to all of your thoughts. If you did listen to all of them, if you bought into every single thought you had, you'd be overwhelmed. Of course you'd be anxious. And a lot of them are lies because you've lived this life that is trying to keep you safe. So we latch on to bad thoughts, especially if we've pattern our lives to do so for safety. For example, a bad thought process that I used to have, I truly believed that I was unworthy. These are lies. A lie that I believed was that I was unlovable. And because I believed that the lens that I was looking at my life through was to reinforce that untrue belief that I was unlovable. So if something happened, or like if my friend was like, I can't hang out with you, then my thoughts would automatically go to, obviously that makes sense. Like they're not going to make time for me because I'm unlovable, or which is crazy. That's not true. They just happen to be busy. Another one, let's see. Oh, that person didn't say hi to me tonight because I'm unlovable. Of course they wouldn't say hi. So like, do you see how our minds are very powerful tools that when we give them something to focus on, they will look for supporting evidence to back that up. So we can't always trust the thoughts that are coming, which is why this phrase, I'm having the thought that I am unlovable, makes me a second guess that thought. So I'm like, ooh, is that a true thought? Or is it, if it's a thought, it means that I can separate it from my worth and decide, do I want to buy into this thought? Do I want to believe that I am unlovable? Or can I just say, that was a thought, that was a silly thought that I don't want, so I'm just going to ignore that thought and then move on to a thought of, I'm having the thought that maybe I'm lovable, but they just happen to be busy. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. That's true. So I'm going to buy that thought and go with that and be able to go on my merry way without hurting myself or others in the process of trying to navigate through the million thoughts that we're having every day. So hopefully this tool helps you to navigate through thoughts, especially silly thoughts that aren't helpful to you, thoughts that are untrue. They're just thoughts. You don't have to believe them or buy into them. Another example she gave in the video was a girl who wrote the thought, the silly thought, the unnecessary bad thought, on a literal rock. I don't know how big the rock was, but I think it was like palm size. That's what I was imagining, because it's like significant enough for me, like, oh, this thought is heavy. So I'll just keep the example of unlovable. So when I'm having the thought I am unlovable, I'm going to pick up that rock and decide, like, okay, do I want to carry this thought around with me, or do I just want to like not carry this unnecessary thought that I am unlovable? So you could make it a very physical thing. So that might be helpful for you and be able to, especially consistent thoughts that we've had, like beliefs that we've had about ourselves for long periods of time. Because I'm telling you, I believed this for years of my life, almost my entire life, until I started my work journey. So that it was not a happy time for me. And I wish I found this tool sooner, because I think it would have been helpful. So when I wake up and I look at the rock maybe put it in my hand and be like, do I want to believe that I'm unlovable today? No, I want to believe that I'm lovable. So I'm going to leave that rock where it is and let that baggage sit there because I am proud of myself for not carrying that rock around. So I hope that that does help you. If you've had long held beliefs that aren't serving you or helping you to remember how amazing you are or helping you to remember how worthy you are, then put those on a rock and then decide if you want to carry them around. And more often than not, I feel like you're going to decide not to carry it. So you can let it go and not let those bad thoughts bring you down, weigh you down, because you don't need them. You really don't. Life is hard enough without carrying your baggage around. So let's heal from that baggage. And it may take longer. It may take more time, and it may take a lot more practice. I hope that these things can help you to overcome especially anxious thoughts and thoughts that aren't unhelpful to all of us. So very important, I want you to remember that you are not your thoughts. Most of us are made up of our experiences and the things we do. People remember, yes, what you say, but most of them remember how you acted, what you did, physically did, and how you made them feel. So words kind of can be secondary. I know sometimes our words are important, but like the overall energy we're giving others is also very important. So don't get caught up on like, I'm a bad person, because if you heard my thoughts, like, oh my gosh, you'd think I'm a genuine monster. No, you're not a monster just because you're having thoughts. You don't have to buy into every thought that you have. There's too many. Your brain's just trying to sort through them, and it's using the evidence you give it to connect to the thoughts that you're feeding. So very important that you can separate yourself from your thoughts. And I hope that these 2 exercises will help you in being able to do that and to maybe have some peace from your thoughts, especially because I used to be a worrier. Oh, badly, but I'm getting better with practice. So your work this week is to do one of the 2 exercises. So the first one being once a day, if you have a bad thought, especially one that's about your worth or how you're feeling about yourself, then I just want you to, at one point during the day, I'm having the thought that whatever it is, I'm having the thought that I'm unlovable right now, and I don't want to believe that thought. Or I'm having the thought that I might disappoint this person, and how am I feeling about that? Or I'm having the thought that I might fail this. Am I okay with this? So at some point in your day, and even better, write it down at night, maybe before you go to bed. I'm having the thought about me, blah, 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 whatever it is. And I hope it helps you to remember that these are just thoughts, and they're only going to affect you if you allow them to, and if you buy into them and let them nestle into your brain. So let's get into the practice of recognizing that they are thoughts. They are separate from us, and we can let them go if we want. And if they're great thoughts, then to buy into them, to buy into I'm having the thought that I'm a kind person. Amazing. I'm going to keep that one. I'm having the thought that today could be a great day, and watch as your day unfolds, and your brain's going to look for all the things that are going to make it a great day. And then the second one for your work, if you don't want to do the first one, is to use a physical object. If you think that's going to be really helpful for you, then write a thought that you've had about yourself, that you've believed about yourself, on a rock, on a physical object. So when you see that object, hold it in your hands and then decide to put it down. And then once you put it down, don't carry it with you throughout the day, okay? All right. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you can find me at trustyourworth.com. My fun page that has sort of been on hold because I went on vacation is at Brittany L. So BRITNEYELLE. If no one has told you today, you are a wonderful human, and I'm so grateful that you've decided to spend your time with me today, and I love you. All right, have a great week, and don't forget to trust your worth. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.